might add, there's a lot of taxes that get passed that way.
That was in 01 or 02?
2002.
Yeah.
02?
We were the first county, and I got to brag on my sweet husband for a minute. It took him 10 years and 2 senators of getting them to let us pass a tax on ourselves. There was no countywide option in the state.
There was a city option, but no county.
And so to get legislators to understand, we want to pass a tax on tourists. They first went through an iteration where they said, as long as it's only on the states that touch it, the counties that touch another state. We were like, it was just, they were so worried that the hotel lobbyist actually is who was fighting it, because they thought it would get on top of their city taxes. So that was how that got done. Well, then if we exclude any city that already has a tax, but we implemented in the county for everything outlined, we were very self-serving in that, because all of this was outside city limits. And so I got to brag on Terry for just staying with it. It took 10 years, 2 senators, and we were the first county to pass the tax.
Well, and I was on the board of directors of the Oklahoma Hotel and Lodging Association. So they said, and I presented it to them, and they said, Terry, we can't support you on this. We won't fight you on that. And that's really all I wanted. Because if they had came in strong and they got a book of money, then they could have hurt us. But long story short, we got 3% tax. And it was, we caught it with, there's all kinds of tricks I found out about getting votes. And one is you don't put it on the ballot when it's a real popular question on the ballot. You do it, when they're electing.
Low turnout.
Yeah, low turnout.
School board election.
You are being recorded.
Anyway, it passed. So we're in business, and I'll kind of let David tell you about the collections of it and what it's done. Of course, what I would say and what I preach constantly is anytime there's a bowl of money there, tax money, you're going to have everybody and their dog going for it. Every kind of example that we could better spend this money. So you've got to make sure you've got your ducks in a row, where then when there's new commissioners and stuff elected, they can't say, well, we'll go after that money. Well, they can go after it, but it's ironclad, it's in the safe, and it is truly a golden egg. And if we kill that goose, if we separate, now we had to make some deals, and you think about that, and appease the right people so they won't pester you. But I'll let Dave explain how we did that.
After the 10 years was up, we had to go back on a ballot, and a lot of discussion, do we increase the 3% or do we just leave it at the 3% and make it permanent? Well, the county commissioners, one was retiring, and he felt that a new percentage needed to go to the fair board. So we already were paying 10% to the county commissioners as, thank you for letting us do this tax. And now 5% was going to go to the fair board. So that was kind of the deal that we made with the commissioners. It's like, okay, fine. So instead of getting 90%, we're now getting 85%. Now let me tell you how that money is spent. The Tourism Authority is made up of a board appointed by county commissioners. Each commissioner appoints 2, plus we have a couple of at-large seats as well.
County judges in Arkansas.
Yeah. Commissioners are judges, not
Oh, okay.
in Louisiana, maybe too.
Okay.
It's jury presidents.
Okay.
Wow.
Be that.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, they don't know what a county commissioner is, but.
So the Broken Bow Chamber of Commerce had always been the place to go for any type of tourism question. The tourists would always go to the Broken Bow Chamber of Commerce. So we thought it was just a natural tie-in for the Tourism Authority, instead of establishing our own office and having our own people, is just go into partnership with the Broken Bow Chamber. So we came to an agreement with them. We shared the people, we share the payroll, we share the expenses, and it's been a win-win situation for both. So it's actually saved the Tourism Authority money because of not having to have our own office, and at the same time it was a salvation for the Broken Bow Chamber, because at the time they were struggling. Now the chamber works about a $200,000 a year budget. Yeah, whereas before it was probably $40,000 a year. So it's been a salvation for the tourism, or for the chamber. But at the same time, I mean, the chamber is really, really busy, not just with tourism, but with everything else. It just morphed in together. So when we first started, our first year collections were less than $100,000. That 3% bed tax generated less than $100,000. And with the conservative board members that we had at the time, we thought, let's not spend a penny year one. Year two, our budget will be what we took in year one. So we literally did not spend a penny the first year. That way we knew second year our budget was going to be, I think it was $88,000 was our total budget. That way, and if we kept doing business that way, nobody could ever question, and we would never spend more than we ever took in. Now, that first year, back in '02, we generated less than $100,000. Our fiscal year that just ended June last year, because we work on that fiscal year, the 3% bed tax generated $1.5 million. $1.5 million. So what does that represent? What does 1.5 represent? Nearly $51 million in lodging. 51 million, think about that. We're talking just this area, the area that you've seen, the Ho-Chi-Town area. And from cabins like this, or as Michelle was talking about, other cabins, I've got a couple of cabins, but they're very small, they're a lot less expensive than these, and less than $200 a night, but I manage my own. So I didn't go into the whole management company, I couldn't afford it. So, but with the internet, like Terry was talking about, I can manage my own, I never see my guests, reservations are done through VRBO, Vacation Rental by Owner. There's some outstanding software now that just triggers emails to the guests, and I never have to see the guests, but I can do it myself. So I'm able to save money. That's another show. But let's get back to the Tourism Authority. Where do we spend our money? 95% of our visitors are coming from Texas. 95% of our money is spent in Texas. County commissioners, I met with them last week, and they're looking at our budget for this year, which I think we figured it about 1.6, 1.7. And they're just like, golly, don't you think you're spending enough money on advertising? Don't you think some of this money could go to roads? It's like, well, first off, it can't because it wasn't voted in to do that. But secondly, when was the last time you bought network television in Dallas, Texas? It ain't cheap. When was the last time you built a website? It's not cheap. All the social media that we do, all of the photography that we do, having the film crews come in and make the commercials, it's not cheap to advertising. We've just begun to scratch the surface in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Let me interrupt. Locals don't see that.
No.
We don't advertise in Broken Arrow. So they don't know that, they think we're just blowing it away. They have no idea what we're doing until they travel and see our commercial.
So we took a lot of heat the last few years. So then what we decided to do, we had done this in the Dallas area at the movie theaters. And you know, before the movie, you see these commercials. Right. Well, we did that in Dallas, and that was it was amazing the response we got. I mean, immediate. I mean, Charity knew exactly when those ads were running. Her friends were calling. She said, "My gosh, I saw those ads at the movie theater." And then we thought, hey, wait a minute, why don't we do that here? That way we can show the locals the commercials that we're actually running. So we changed the audio that said, hey, McCurtain County, this is what the Tourism Authority promotes in the Dallas area. And the reception was just, wow. I mean, you put those pictures up on a big screen at the movie theater, and that trout coming out of the stream, you know, dancing like this, and the deer, and mom and dad with the kids at the, making s'mores at the fireplace. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. So it really got it settled down a lot of the locals, but they still think that we need to spend the money, you know, here, this. A lot of people, Oklahomans especially, will say, well, why aren't you advertising in Oklahoma City and Tulsa? And actually, I don't know if somebody alluded to the guests. Oh, you did. When the guests, you know, they don't want to pay the prices. They don't get it. And two, the Oklahoma guest is, I would prefer to have Texans, Louisiana, to anybody but Oklahoma guests.
It's true. It's so true.
It's crazy. It's just crazy.
There's something you said that about Oklahomans. We do get a lot of flack, and one of the things that we have to constantly tell people is, you fish where the fish are biting.
Right.
People from Oklahoma don't come here.
Yeah.
People from Arkansas don't come here. They've got it in Arkansas. They don't need to come to the trees and the forest and the rivers. They've got it. Those Dallas, Texas folks and anything in that cone, that northeast cone, are coming for what they don't have, which is solitude,
Well,
that
let
kind
me
of
give you a
thing. And so we fish where the fish are biting.
Arkansas is here, Dallas is here, and we're right in the middle. We spend a lot of money keeping them from getting to Arkansas.
A lot.
In Colorado.
$1.2 million a year, a lot. But some advantages that we have right now, Governor Stitt, who was elected this year, loves this area. The Lieutenant Governor loves this area. So that's been really beneficial to us. But still 95% of our dollars are going to be spent in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Yeah.
Do y'all have a YouTube channel?
Yes,
Because I would put those commercials on a YouTube channel.
they are.
Direct people to
And
know.
Charity is the kind of our executive director, manager of the Tourism Authority and of the Broken Bow Chamber. So really, when it comes to the specifics, Charity is the one we always go to.
Yeah.
But social media is huge, huge, and it is just never ending. We had every 3 years by law, we have to go out to bid for our ad agency. And we had a wonderful ad agency out of Tulsa. Cubic just did a phenomenal job for us. But their creative just had run flat. It had just gone flat. And we thought, well, we have to go out to bid again. And we had an ad agency come out of Oklahoma City that just hit a grand slam with the creative. But they weren't super strong in social media. You know, the message is the same, but it's just getting the message there. So they've gone through, you know, we ended up going with this other ad agency because of their creative. I mean, it will take us to that next level. So it's been a learning curve for them. Charity has been teaching them the things that